So I'm going to talk a bit about mental health and the only reason why we have mental health issues in this world, especially in the United States, but really in the world, is because the corruption has pretty much enslaved their minds to the Matrix. And I'm not talking about the Matrix movies. It's more of a metaphor. Because it creates a static in our minds. Remember those old TV sets that would, and you would have to mess with the rabbit ears or whatever it was called, the antenna, in order to get a better reception. Well, it's the same with our minds. We've been bombarded by bullshit for so many years through school, and which basically is an assembly belt of a lot of bullshit. It sucks the creativity right from your mind. It destroys your soul, so to speak. So this is why we can't judge anybody for their static, because static in the mind is inherent to the system that we've all grown into. So the only way to remove the static is to improve ourselves and to join and become part of this organization, because then it'll improve the community's mental health. So individually and also the community, two different aspects that we have. So we can accomplish this in the individual level by exercise, eating properly, things like meditation, Pilates. Use your imagination. There's countless different things that we will talk about going forward in the Facebook group and chat room or whatever. And maybe even have different groups like, I want to do Pilates or this or that. And people will be able to congregate within those interests to become a philosophy, a way of life, to implement every facet of health and fitness, emotional and mental health into one, to take the best from the world that the world has to offer and incorporate it all into our way of life. So when we have different aspects that we like, maybe a Buddhism or a philosophy, because some aspects let's say you research Buddhism and you're like, I love certain parts of it, the meditation and the whatever. But then the other parts kind of get in the way. You know why that is? It's because you're taking the wheat and the shaft together instead of cutting the wheat from the shaft. Because all these different belief systems have come about based on truth, actually. Like, people found out that this is great for your mind or great for your body, and they've incorporated it. But then they also added all this other stuff that they had going on as well in the culture, which waters it down. It waters it down. That's why we need to take the best, the wheat, from all the philosophies and all the I want to say religion out there, the best stuff, bring it in to the organization so that we can be the best version of ourselves I have static too. I have static because of where I came from. The static is hard to get away from. They wanted to destroy my mind because they were miserable. They were miserable with themselves, so they wanted to destroy me. But I wouldn't let them. I stayed strong. Strong in my mind. I would say, fuck you. I love myself. I'm not going to hate myself because you hate me and you hate yourself. No. I'm going to continue down the road that I was always meant to go down, that I was always meant to traverse, because that is my purpose. My purpose is to bring this message, to do what I can, do what I can to foster, facilitate change, true change in the world, however I can do it. And I ask you to help me to make it possible so we can accomplish great things together. So we can bring in, this is the greatest part of this organization, this philosophy that I've realized, that it's just so much common sense, because we're not excluding anybody at all. No matter what your religion is, no matter what your belief system is, you could be atheist, it doesn't matter. Because this organization is the grand vision of everything. It's secular, it's religious, it's whatever you want it to be. Because we take the wheat and we separate the wheat from the chaff to create true love and prosperity, a true vision to eradicate death, involuntary death. Because death is a disease. Static in our mind, we need to eradicate that static that we have going on in there to improve our mental health, to become the person and the people we were always meant to be. Because that is our purpose. Our purpose is to be the best version of ourselves, how we always envisioned ourselves to be. Because our mind knows who we're supposed to be. Because that's what we gravitate towards. That's what we fantasize about. We fantasize about being that person that we have always wanted to be. So that's why we have to become that person. And we can become that person. We actually can. It takes work, it takes community. I always think of so much lost opportunity out there. I've seen so many movements come and become abused by people in horrible ways, when it could have been a force for change, for good. They could have accomplished so much, but yet they just chose to be so small-minded because of leadership. It was just in it for the wrong reasons. We have to be in it for the right reasons. We have to be in it to improve the lives of you and me, of everybody, of the whole world. The change, everything that you can possibly imagine. And that is the potential of the Humanist Network, whatever you want to call it. Because the name doesn't matter as much as the purpose. The purpose and the foundation of our agenda and our love. And this is what it's all about. It's about eradication of the static. It's about eradicating cancer, involuntary death. Everybody you've ever met who has died, they didn't need to die. It was a failure of the system. The corrupt system has annihilated our potential to do whatever we want. That's why we must come together and become a great force all over the world. United States, Canada, all these imaginary places, because they're just names. They don't really mean anything. They're just different prisons. United States prison, Canadian prison. What matters is that we are all one, and once we realize that, then we can knock down these barriers. We can knock them down all over the place and change the systems. I'm not saying we're just going to open borders, every part of the world, because that is taking the horse before the cart before the horse. There's a set of milestones that need to be accomplished before anything like that could happen. That's why we need to change the system from within, become politically active. It doesn't matter if we're Democrat, Republican, whatever, independent, libertarian, green. It doesn't matter, because what matters is that we're all on the same side. Whatever brings us to the power so we can change things for good is where we should be at. Everything else is an illusion. It's an illusion that, I'm going to pass some legislation and change things for people. No, we need a movement to eradicate the corruption, to make it illegal for politicians to take bribes, lobbyists. Ban it. You take a bribe, you go to jail. Simple as that, really. We need to focus on solving issues. We need to improve the infrastructure. The infrastructure is so poorly cultivated, utilized so poorly. That's why that's why it costs so much to buy a house, because we have a limited amount of land that we're using, because we have so much inefficiency. I don't even want to go into it right now. I could literally write a book about it, but that's for another time. We have so much inefficiency in roads that, you just look at some other countries who do a lot better, not perfect, but better. And it's ugly, but that's another issue. This is why it's a comprehensive philosophy of life, of all we can accomplish for the betterment of humanity. And because we improve humanity and our quality of life, we're naturally going to improve the quality of life in general, because it's an ecosystem, this life, where we all thrive together. If you take one component away, then it's going to be lopsided. It's going to need correction. This is why we need to eradicate the cancer in society. So be part of the organization. Be active. Communicate with me. I want to facilitate ideas, brainstorm, because it doesn't matter if you have money or not. What matters is motivation. What matters is our philosophy. Whatever you can give to the organization is all the organization needs. Because to build this organization, build this community, requires teamwork, understanding, compassion, that we're going to develop these fine principles to, why can't we have a system where we train people who want to learn different skills without them having to go into debt, extreme debt, and have to spend at least 10 years to pay it off? And at least 10 years in school to figure it out, or 5 or whatever it is. That is nuts. That's inflation, corrupt inflation, which just goes into the pockets of the corrupt who basically rule the world. The 99%. I'm not a communist. But there is truth, and then there's false. Truth and lie. So it's not left wing or right wing that are true. Each part has great things that are true, but both are fundamentally wrong. And we'll go on to that in the future. You know, this is just the basic right here, primer. I'm kind of scrolling here because I don't want my screen to freaking blank out and then my video would end. So that's why I do that, by the way. You know, we need to remove this static. That's why we can't judge each other. Because when you're judging each other, it's like prisoners attacking prisoners. It's like, yeah, respect that each of us has static in our mind. But we're trying to work through it. That's the important thing. We're trying to work through it. And eventually, we're all going to be clear-minded. We're going to be supportive of one another, loving. Why is the biological mother and father the only mother and father that we have? Why can't we find other mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters out there based on our relationship? Why can't we all be a family? A big family, a huge family of humanity. Why we have to be so segregated from each other? We need to improve parenting. How come you need schooling to do so many different things, but yet you don't need any kind of education to be a parent? You know, it's just kind of like, hey, all right, deal with it, you know? Instead of, this is proven correct. These are the proving tactics that have a track record. You know, just go on. We can go on and on all day, really. But that's it for this video. Hopefully, y'all watch it, you know, listen to it, and I appreciate your input. Thank you.